Facebook wasn't working. The thing about Facebook is it works, and then it like it stops working. We get up to 4 or 5 people, and then it's like, nah, you're not allowed to have anybody watching you. You talk about Israel too much. You talk about Israel too much. I think Israel is the only thing that gets you truly in trouble, truly censored. You know, I don't know of anybody else that gets the treatment I get, but that's probably because they're censored. But at the same time, like, there are plenty of people that talk about Israel. They're just do it from a Muslim perspective. And that's, you know, that's just dumb. I wasn't expecting that. It doesn't matter which of the Abrahamic religions you subscribe to, they're all fucking stupid. Wish I knew who it was that keeps coming to my page and giving me the thumbs up. I'd like to say thanks. I don't know who you are. So thanks. Oh, that like made the fire colder for some reason. That's weird. See, we're already doing better. No problem. At least I know. So what is everybody doing tonight? Saturday night? You got good stuff going on in your world? I think like right now, Palestinians are probably being killed. Let's see. It's 10:09. So I believe it's like an 8-hour difference. So it's 6 in the morning. Palestinians have already been killed. It's pretty crazy shit to think about. I've been talking a lot about Brian Mullen on my YouTube page, but I don't know. If the YouTube people aren't the Facebook people, then they don't really understand. Like, to me, it's Israel. Israel is the bad guy. Israel is the thing that we are constantly being distracted from. And it's you know, Trump is a very good Israeli distraction. Transgender stuff, another very good Israeli distraction. Like, I find the transgender stuff so frustratingly stupid and such a waste of time. Like, usually the people that have the most to say about transgenders and the most hatred in their hearts are the Christians. You know, it's the Christians that hate the transgenders so much. And it's like, you know, at the same time, it's the Christian, like, and they love to play that card that, you know, they're not bigots, they're just trying to protect the children and shit like that. But it's like, if you were trying to protect the children, then the church would be your number one. You'd be all about, let's expose the church and destroy the church. Hello, boys.
Why do you sound like a gay guy?
Because I'm gay now.
Yeah, okay, I believe it. Dad, holy crap!
What? Get down, dummy.
See the bug?
What bug? Holy crap. Probably a moth. Why'd you turn that on? No, it's going to come towards there. I hate killing moths. I hate killing stuff. But whoa. I didn't even hit it. Get it, cowboy. Get it, cowboy.
Get it?
I don't know. No. Did you get it, Duty? I think he's over there eating it. Are you eating it, Cousin? Oh well. Hey, we've got 3 whole people on here. Man, it's like record setting. Actually, today we got to 6. I was allowed 6 people. Come on. Did you get a cow? It's a good boy. You're a good boy, cow. Mobile home. Mo, let's go. Oh, I hate having dogs. So gross, the cat just ate the fucking moth. Mo! Mean boy style. Come on, man. Good boy. Come on. Come on. Yep, there's no water in there. I have to get you water, so chillax. Do 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 do. What? What? So catch it. Catch it. Do you see it? Okay, yeah, cow ate it. Yep, shut off the light. So turn off the lights because we're not on the sun. Hopelessly hopes. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. Hopelessly hopeless, I hope so. For you. So turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Where are my Modest Mouse fans? Seriously, I want to be in here with you guys, but I gotta be out here for this bullshit. It's good fire. Look at that. It's good fire. In my fire pit. Fuck, man. It's so weird, man. It's so weird to want life to be better for everybody else. To sit here and wonder why we're not working together. And to, why the fuck do I see things so much differently than most of you? Or at least, why am I comfortable admitting it? I truly believe that most religious people don't believe what they say. Like, it's funny how many times I get into an argument with a female about Christianity. And yet, it's like, don't you get it? You clearly don't believe in that bullshit, or else you wouldn't be talking to me about this. Me being a man and you being a woman means you should shut the fuck up according to your Bible. You have no place talking to me like that. And it's clear that you don't believe that. You shouldn't believe that. But that part about, well, I get to live forever in heaven, that's the part that you like. So you claim that you're a part of this thing. But it's funny, you're not. We're such fake religious people. It's like even the idea that you don't live a religious life, but then you go to church on Sundays. Like, what the fuck is that? How does that even work? What a bunch of bullshit. And of course, like, the more you just look into it on the most basic levels, you look into religion, even the littlest bit, try to prove it. The more you try to prove the shit, that's when you really find how difficult it is. It's difficult. Because you're trying to prove something that isn't there. It's like all the antidepressant medication, right? So many people are on an antidepressant, and then they'll say something like, the people are then taking, like, well, the antidepressant actually didn't work, and it gave me suicidal thoughts, and it it made me more depressed. And the system goes, well, shit, you should take more. You should take more shit. And we just go, wait, what? And it's like, they tell you that you're depressed. You go into the place, into the doctor, and you go, hey doc, I see the way the world works. Israel gets this $3.8 billion a year. The church that I say I belong to is constantly raping children. The government that I am forced to vote for, they give me two choices and say pick one, and that's freedom. That's the freedom. I hate both of the people. Like, it's one of these things where that you give all these examples. If you even have the doctor that listens, because most of the time the doctors don't even listen. But if you have the doctor that listens, you tell them a version of all this shit. I can't stand how hard I work, and yet I'm still just barely getting by. I can't stand the fact that everything keeps going up and the wages don't go up. I can't stand the fact that everything keeps going up and the value of the dollar keeps going down. We're giving it Ukraine $200 billion, and they clearly just burnt down Maui with their magic space weapons, and there is no space. And I'm a good Christian. I've followed all the rules forever. I abstained from having as much fun as I possibly could. I gave and I never asked God for anything in return. And now that I'm in this hard time, now that, this COVID's hit, I'm begging God to please answer my prayers and yada, yada, yada. And nope. Still no. And actually, I got all my churches closing their doors to me now in my time of need, where I'm terrified and I need my Jesus the most. The churches are closing their doors to me, and I'm just terrified. What's going on? And the systems, and you're telling these doctors that, and the doctors respond with, "Oh, you're depressed." Wow, we have 9 people here. Right? Go ahead. Vicious killer. All cats are.
Well, no, all our other cats, dogs like that, cows kills all.
It's because he's hungry. When they tell you you're depressed, you're depressed. You need drugs. We're going to give you some magic drugs that make you feel better. And again, like I say, you take it and it's like, man, doc, these drugs make me want to kill myself more. These drugs make me in a fog. I'm still depressed as shit, but now I'm in a fog. I'm not depressed. I still have all those feelings. I'm still angry about this. I'm angry about that. I don't like what I'm seeing and experiencing. I only get one fucking life, and it's turning out to be really fucked up. And it doesn't seem like there's anything I can do about it. I was supposed to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life at 18 years old? What are you talking about? I came out of an alcoholic, drug addict situation. I came out of violence. I came out of this. I came out of that. You expect me to have some shit figured out at 18? And they say, I know that the medicine we gave you last time makes you fucked up. And we told you, this medicine will take 3 to 4 weeks. You got to take it every day before your body adjusts to it. So for the first few weeks, you're going to feel all kinds of fucked up. But once you build up a tolerance, like an addict, then it won't be as bad for you. And then you get all fucked up and you go, oh, well, here, let's adjust the dose. Hey, let's switch this. Hey, let's change it to this. And yeah, you're supposed to wean off slowly, but since we're giving you a new thing that takes 3 weeks to kick in, it'll be like you're weaning off. But and they run you through this cycle of drugs. And none of it works because you're not fucking depressed. You're not depressed. You're angry. And because we have this society that tells you you're not supposed to hate things. All we need is love. Love will fix everything. We just need love. And you're like, I have plenty of love in my life. I have lots of capacity for love. I love people. I help people all the time. And because I'm so loving, people take advantage of me. What the fuck are you talking about? All we need is love. I hate that shit. Ooh, don't say hate. Hate's a strong word. Don't say hate. Love is the answer. And you're not allowed to have a good, strong, healthy relationship with hatred. So you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to deal with the anger, with the disgust. For all of you out there that identify as Christian, to be constantly reading stories about, another Catholic priest, another Christian pastor, whatever, found fucking a bunch of other kids again. Like, how does that not fuck with you? You believe that shit. You believe your God, who is everywhere, knows everything. There is no time that applies to God. God knows past, present, and future. God is everywhere at all times. So this view, God has it of the child being raped. All those views that you see when you're watching porn, God has that of children being raped and does nothing about it. And you say you believe in that shit. You support that shit. You get mad at someone like me who brings these things up. You don't think that fucks with your head? You don't think that seeing a whole bunch of horrible people consistently be celebrated as the best of them, the fact that so many people are getting their financial, marital, sexual, just life advice from virgins who don't pay bills is fucking insane. It's insane. It doesn't make sense. You're going to learn how to fight from somebody that has has never been in a fight before? Yeah, trust me, these techniques work. Well, did you use them in the field of battle? No, but I practice in the mirror. Well, how do you know they're going to work? I just know. That's fucking dumb. And yet people get their information, get their life advice from these fucking people, who then turn around and either rape kids or turn a blind eye to children being raped in their own precincts. You know, I was watching this this interview of this this gang, maybe he's a former gang member. He looked like he was like 450, 500 pounds. He was huge. But he was in the Mexican prison gangs. And he was like, he made his way up to the highest ranks. And he's talking about it. It's a paramilitary system. There's all these ranks and all these different names for people, and they teach you, you know, they completely control your everything. They give you stuff to read. And at the end of the day, you just become this plaything for powerful people that most of the people never even get to see or experience or meet or anything. They're killing people, they're doing this, they're doing that. And it's all on word of people they don't even know. And I'm watching it, and it to me it seems like it's yet another thing, especially when you know anything about the prison system and you know how it came to be what it is today. Especially if you've heard that interview floating around the tube where Crazy Bone talks about going to a meeting with all of the prominent rappers of the day and all of the big Jewish producers, well, Jewish A&R people and record execs and all that. And they talked about creating gangster rap, pushing gangster rap and filling the prisons. It was to fill the prisons up. Go find the interview. I mean, fucking A, tell me I'm wrong. But Crazy Bone tells the, you know, it's like me talking, except he's famous. You know, he fucking made it. He was one of those. He was at the meeting. He's not talking about some secondhand story. And you just, you know, when you look at the gang structure and all that, and it's like, at the end of the day, who runs the prisons? The white boys, who also happen to have like some of the smallest numbers, but they generally have the guards. The guards are in their pockets. And you hear about these, you know, it's like you're a psycho, you're a bit of a psycho. You like to beat people, you like to hurt people, you like to, you know, control people and shit. Well, we'll put you in a high-ranking position in one of our prisons. And you're just on the other side of the bars, but you're just like the people in there. And it's this manipulation by the chosen who own the prisons, who then, you know, created this gang culture to be like it is, a paramilitary organization with rules and all this shit, so that people of color wipe each other out, and it's entertainment. You know, I mean, a lot of those prisons, the guards purposefully have the prisoners engaging in fights. They know that these gang members have been brainwashed that if they're on the yard with a rival gang member, they don't even talk. They just run up and start fighting. Well, that doesn't seem like proud Mexican, proud black. That seems like tricked, duped Mexicans, duped black people. You know who's not in the prison? You know who's not represented? They're literally, there's a prison special, I can't remember what it's called, but one of the people they follow is like the rare Jewish guy that's there. And this guy is so openly defiant of the rules. Running tattoos, running numbers, doing all this shit. And he's really sloppy about it. And yet, for some reason, even showing the camera crew everything he's doing, not only does he get away with it, he gets moved into the trustee position and all this other shit. And the thing is, because he's Jewish, he got to separate himself because he said, well, he's his own thing and he needs to be able to pray and all that other stuff. So they gave him like his own little wing just because he's Jewish. So his religious bullshit supersedes the fact that he's in fucking prison and who gives a shit. And he was a bad dude. I mean, he was nice, I guess, to your face, but he was like consistently defying the guards and the COs and shit. But they gave him his own special treatment. He was like, how does he not think that way? How does he not think he's special and can do more when he's already been told he's special and can do more? He's chosen by God to begin with. The fact that he even went to prison in the first place means he must have really fucked up. But even there, he gets special treatment. How's he not supposed to think he's the best? How's he not supposed to think super highly of himself? Unreasonably, We're talking about the worst. Just the worst. As always, I just tell me what I'm wrong about. I'd love for some Jews, some rabbis, some whatever to come into my feed and tell me what I'm wrong about. Some Israelis. Tell me what I'm wrong about. Come make me feel stupid. I dare you. I beg you. If I have all of these wrong, misconceptions about Judaism, then let me know. I firmly believe that, like, the idea that it's some sort of slur to say that your group has all the money, the power, and the control. If you don't see that as total brainwashing, you're stupid. That's not a slur. That's an amazing compliment. The only way it's a negative is if it's true and, you could fix the world, you just don't want to. You like it. It's not broken as far as you're concerned. And you don't want to be held responsible. So you tell people, no, you can't say that. That's a slur. That's akin to calling black people nigger. No, it's not. Are you fucking crazy? I wish I could say, black people had all the money, the power, and the control. Wouldn't be a slur, wouldn't be a negative at all. But with all dictatorships, with King James, there used to be it was a reward. If you heard your neighbor talking bad about the kingdom, about the king, about the queen, about any of the royalty, you were charged with reporting that. And to incentivize people, they would do just that. They would pay you. If you came and told the king that the neighbor was saying stuff, you'd get paid, and they'd come take that person out. So a lot of people would do it just to get the land, just to get rid of competition, whatever. Go lie and say this person's a witch. This person said some shit about the king, whatever it is, and they pay you, and then they get rid of your competition. But the key to any dictatorship is that the servants, the lower class, don't talk about the master. You know, we don't talk about what's. We're not allowed to negatively talk about the hand. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. And we're not allowed to. And when you look at this whole truther movement, and I've been saying this for quite some time, there's only one group that we're not allowed to talk about. I could talk about flat earth all day. I could talk about how bad Christians are all day. I could talk about how bad Muslims are all day for sure. I could talk about conspiracies all day. I could talk about the Jesuits all day. There's only one group of people that you're not allowed to talk about. And if you don't see that as being your, like, if you're still waiting for the system to tell you what the smoking guns are, you're waiting for the system to come tell you that, oh yeah, it's a conspiracy and we're trying to kill you and we're trying to do this and we're trying to do that. And yes, it's a Jewish conspiracy to manipulate everything and keep us in power. If you're waiting for that message from them, it's not going to happen. You have to look at what's presented to you. And something as important as who you're not allowed to talk about, that's a big fucking deal. That is a big deal. You know, I've experienced it firsthand. You know, January 2020, I declared that I was no longer going to be distracted by flat Earth. Was no longer going to be distracted by chemtrails and all of the other stuff. Even though I believe in that stuff, I think it's real and I'll talk about it. It's not the thing I'm going to be focused on. There's so many other flat Earth pages. There's so many other chemtrail pages. There's so many other Hollywood pages, you know, all that shit. What I'd like to see is a version of Ken O'Keefe that I can trust. And Ken O'Keefe was the only person I ever saw that spoke like he did. So what am I going to do? It's just like the music. Yeah. Nobody makes good music, so what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to make good music. Don't forget to go get the free download, www.the-bilderberg, bilderberg-group.com. It's free to listen to, free to download. Just put a 0 in the payment box when it asks you how much you want to pay, and you get a free download of some amazing music. But, you know, it's the music that I wanted to hear because nobody else was making fucking good music. Everybody else's music is about nothing. It's just distraction. It's just bob your head and it's just stupidity. And, you know, I'm not stupid. I want stuff that challenges me. I want stuff that makes me think. Looks like the kids went to bed. I guess you're going to bed, huh? I love you, bub. Tomorrow we're going to do something. No video games all day, okay?
We're doing something.
boys. Those are some good boys. Ooh, 7 people here. Number just, and it's crazy. Isn't it crazy how the number has such a hard time staying consistent? How is there nobody talking here? How is nobody commenting on this feed? I'm literally talking bad about Israel. I'm literally talking bad about religion. I believe the earth isn't round. I don't believe in in Biden or Trump. Yes, I believe in Hollyweird being weird. Again, it's the whole Jewish conspiracy. Where's all the opposition to that? I know the majority of you don't agree with me on everything. You know? I know the majority of you are Christian, unbelievably, but so where is the opposition? Where is you're charged by your Bible to find people like me. You're not supposed to find people that already agree and you just sit around and talk about it. You're supposed to find people like me and bring me into the fold. You're supposed to convince me that I should be using my powers of persuasion, my oratory ability to bring more people in. But at the same time, it's like me personally, I'm on this weird journey of discovery. I just want to know things and I want to be the best me I can be and the best society we can be and all that. Like I want all that. Don't you? Don't you want life to be better for everybody? Including you and yours and the generations to come? Like it seems like it's, all of this shit seems pretty obvious. And the fact that people have such a hard time communicating. We've been told since we were young that you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics, and you don't talk about relationships. Like, well, those are the fucking 3 things that guide, and money, sorry. Those are the things that guide our lives. Why wouldn't we talk about it? Why do they have us programmed not to do that? How? How did they make that all happen? Really pretty brilliant when you think about it. I don't know. I don't get it, man. I don't get... Well, I do. But it's not very nice. At the end of the day, I don't think any of it is accidental or coincidental or anything like that. I think it's all fear. It's fear and programming. We're programmed to be afraid of everything. COVID did a great job of making us scared of each other over nothing. There was nothing there. But the thing is, the brilliance in the system is they've got us to the point where we don't question the system. We just accept it. So when they're presenting us with something that don't make no sense, something that just absolutely goes against everything we've been taught. What happened to chickenpox parties? What happened to chickenpox? My kids never got chickenpox. I think that's not a good thing. They should have probably gotten chickenpox. I remember being You know, I always heard it was worse if you get it later on in life. So you want to get it out of the way early. So why aren't people getting chickenpox anymore? But why, why is it something happens? It's because of how we view things. It's because they have us scared of the invisible. That's such an amazing concept when you really start thinking about it too. You start asking yourself, like, how much tangible shit do you actually believe in, and how much of it is intangible? You believe in the devil, in God, intangible. You believe, like, I love this truther thing where the system, look how brilliant the system is, right? The system, and that's Trump. Fucking Trump's the one. The reason the term deep state is as big as it is because Trump used it. Trump used it, and now lots of government officials use it. And what they brilliantly did was they have you believing that it's not the government that you can clearly see doing all this horrible negative shit all the time. The Lindsey Grahams and the Mitch McConnells and the Barr when he was in there, and the Pompeo when he was in there, and the Biden administration. I don't even know the Blinkens and all these. It's not these guys, and it's not the lifers like Lindsey Graham, Dandy Lindsey Graham. It's not those guys that's doing it. It's this deep state. This deep state of hypnosis. I mean, that's what deep, if I thought it's a deep state, you think a deep state of what? Hypnosis? A deep state of sedation? It connotates being, it connotates, being controlled. You're in a deep state of submission. Whenever somebody says anything, a deep state of concentration, maybe. But it's not those lifers that have just been consistently doing the same things and voting on the same thing. It's not them. It's this deep state. It's this version of them that you can't see. We don't even know who it is. But it's the deep state. It's invisible. Invisible boogeyman. How many invisible boogeymen do you believe in? How do you have a conversation with people about sickness when people don't even question that? Every year we have flu season. Nobody questions, well, who does it manifest in first? Where does this flu just manifest from in patient zero, and then they start coughing and sneezing and spread it to everybody? How does that work? Because I love this this part, right? I can tell you every single person out here. Doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what religion you are. I can tell you exactly what you believe in this one instance, right? When it comes to getting sick, every single one of you believes one of two things. A, somebody has the COVID, the flu, the whatever, and if they cough or sneeze, then a particle cloud full of sickness flies out of their mouth. And if they're in a air circulated room, then that sneeze, my neighbor, my old lady neighbor, well, ex-neighbor, she doesn't live there anymore, told me a sneeze can go as far as 60 feet. Sneezes can go 60 feet. And so you think that if you're in a restaurant or you're in some place and the sneeze happens and you you're in the same place, well, then you're fucked. Because the sneeze is going to get you, can go 60 feet, it's going to travel, it's going to get you, it's going to infect you. Because the sneeze is full of germs, invisible germs. Like the Germans that were the bad guys at the time when that theory was real big. When that theory became prominent, the bad guys in the world were the Germans. It's the germs that are going to get you. And those germs, again, they're invisible, and they know when you breathe in that cloud, they go, oh, oh, and they run up their nose and they get you sick in your mouth and they get you sick. The other thing you believe, it's not even one or the other. You actually believe both of these things. You believe that that somebody will cough or sneeze, COVID sauce will get onto their body. Now, it's really important that you guys understand that if somebody coughs or sneezes here into their elbow, that's totally safe. But if they sneeze onto the hand, 12 inches down, now they're a WMD walking around. And they will, anything they touch will now have COVID sauce on it. And the COVID sauce is it's like napalm, right? It's sticky. It's sticky. It's so as they're walking along, it's viscous, but it's sticky. As they're walking along, things that they touch with the hand that has the COVID sauce on it, those things now have COVID sauce on them too. And that COVID sauce just waits. It's full of super intelligent bugs or individual invisible bugs that they just wait. They form a little camp. And they wait for some unsuspecting fool to come walking by and stick his hand into that COVID sauce. And now if they wash their hand, then the COVID sauce goes down the drain. And they're safe. But if they don't wash their hand and they happen to touch their face, the COVID sauce, if they touch their nose or their mouth or their ear, the COVID sauce jumps off of their hand and runs up their nose or mouth and gets them sick. Now, the key, too, is that you have to have a good, strong immune system. If you don't have a strong immune system, then COVID sauce will get you. Then all kinds of stuff will get you. If you have a strong immune system, well, that's a whole different sack of potatoes. Now you're protected with a strong immune system. What is an immune system? If I ask you what your immune system is, you're going to say you don't know. Because you don't. You don't know what an immune system is. Nobody does. I say point to your immune system. Tell me what makes your immune system function. You're going to have no fucking idea. But you do know that vaccines will make that immune system strong. And basically your immune system is like you've got some white, of course it's the white blood cells. I always thought that was funny, like they're the white blood cells. Are they really white? Because it looks like it's all red. But the white blood cells, if you have a strong immune system, the white blood cells are like ninjas. And they just sit at like the opening of your nose, and they sit at the opening of your mouth and your ears, and they just wait. And if one of those darn germs, invisible germs, comes in, they destroy it. They just destroy it. They're like ninjas. They come in, they kick the shit out of whatever it is, and they kill it. But if you don't have a strong immune system, then the COVID sauce, well, those ninjas don't work as well. And you get sick. And if you, well, it's not good. You could die. You could die from it. That's what they tell you. That's what most of you believe. All of you. Every single one of you watching me believes a version of that. None of you think that story is fucking weird. None of you think it's utterly stupid to think there are invisible, creatures that fly around trying to get you sick. But that's what all of you believe. Isn't that crazy? How do you, nobody bothers to question that. How do you, of course you're going to get people to take vaccines. They don't bother to question the shit you tell them to begin with. Talk about stupid. They have us so fucking brainwashed and stupid, it's unreal. Mm-hmm. How are we ever gonna, we don't even want to fight it. Most of us don't even think there's don't even think it's a problem. Or we see that there's lots of problems, but we're told not to talk about those problems, so then we don't. It's just, how do we fix any of that? If they tell you you're not allowed to talk about the problem, it's funny, the whole Jew thing, right? They tell you you're supposed to make the best of your life and fix your life in the best way you can, and identify problems, and when you identify a problem, you're supposed to meet it head on, and you're not supposed to be weak, and you're not supposed to hide from problems. And yet when it comes to this one thing, everybody knows. Everybody knows who the fucking bad guys are. Everybody knows who controls the money. Everybody knows who runs entertainment. Everybody knows who runs all of it. It's not a secret. Especially the elderly people. And yet at the same time, you've been told that you're not supposed to say it. You can say, you can know what it is. It's them, it's blah, blah, blah. But if you actually say that's what it is, then somehow you're the bad guy. So you're supposed to, so you say, hey, you know what this seems like? It seems like these chosen control every aspect of our lives and make shit harder. And that seems pretty obvious. That seems like the pretty obvious thing. If we fix that, then things get better. And they say, well, you can't talk about that. And you go, well, am I wrong? Is that, is that not it? And they go, no, we're not denying it. We're just telling you can't talk about it. You have to find the problem, you have to fix the problem. But if that's the way it goes, you're not allowed to. You have to come up with something else. And you're going, yeah, but that's what it is. It's obvious. I can clearly see that's what it is. And they go, no, you can't talk about it. You have to come up with something else. And you go, well, you know, okay, so it's obviously this, but you're saying I can't say that. So it's the devil then? How about we say that? How about we say it's the invisible devil that controls the world, that your God cast out of heaven, and now that devil controls the world and does all the, like, yeah, that's it. You're willing to believe crazy shit when you know obvious and you talk about the obvious and you're told you're not allowed to talk about the obvious, but you still have to fix the problem. You come up with crazy shit because what kind of mind fuck is that? You know, right? One of the things where, Jesus, that's weird, because someone is abused or whatever, and not taught how to deal with those feelings and those things that happen, they end up going down a bad direction because that it makes them feel better. It's what it is, you know. And it's like, well, if that person, instead of, you know, if that person could talk about the problems, you know, the abusive parents, the abusive life, the abusive situation, whatever it may be, if they could talk about that shit, they'd probably be less likely to go down the wrong path. But because they're not allowed to talk about it, you know, you got parents that fucked you up, and you try talking about that shit with them, they're gonna get mad. They're gonna get defensive, and they're not gonna look at it like, how is this the best situation for you? What can I do to help my suffering child get through this horrendous situation? They're gonna be like, no, I don't want that guilt. Because they're just people. They're not anything special. Your parents, your family is nothing special. They're just people. They're special to you, but they're not special. So because you can't deal with the problem the right way, you deal with it the wrong way. Because you're not allowed to talk about what the real problem is, you then start talking about, oh, it's the Satan. It's Satan. It's the devil. The devil made me do it. You know, they have the truther community talking about it's a bunch of Satanists. Satanists run the world. I swear that I've never met a Satanist. The biggest believers in Satan that I've ever met are the Christians and the truthers. You know, Christians, Catholics, and the truthers. The Christians, Catholics just blame everything they can on Satan, take no responsibility whatsoever. And the truthers love to talk about these goddamn Satanists that run the world. Oh, it's Satanists. So instead of, you know, believing that it's these bad people that we can see doing bad things because they're bad people, they like fucking with children. It's not that they're doing it for some ritualistic this or that. They're just sick. They're sick people who like to fucking rape children. You know, when you add that supernatural element to it, as soon as you, the whole concept of God and the devil, it's so brilliant, really, because when it teaches you to accept the intangible, right? From a young age, you're taught this bullshit, and at some point, around like 5 or 6, you go, hey, Mom, Dad, this doesn't make any sense. And your parents go, we know, but we want to believe it. We've been told to believe it, so you have to believe it too. We're going to keep this family tradition bullshit alive. So don't ask questions, just have faith. There's a all-knowing, invisible authority that tells us this shit. So you need to trust the authority. It's the authority. Trust the authority. And so when you get older, you know, even though it doesn't make sense, you've already been programmed to trust the authority. So you do. Especially since it's a tangible authority. It's not even an intangible like you've been taught to do your whole life. This time it's a tangible authority telling you shit that doesn't make sense. So you're like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. It's an authority. But on the other side, it's, you know, the devil's side. They've not only have they come up with a way to absolve themselves of that's the devil made me do it, but they also had they figured out a great way to keep us in the dark. You know, as soon as something is called satanic, a good portion of the population goes, oh, no, I don't want to hear nothing about it. You know, Jesus be my strength. I got no time for Satan. And it's like, no, it's like they hide all of this numerology and all of these secrets out in the open by calling it satanic. And because you've been tricked into believing that shit, you know, you're gonna, something that you might even be interested in, you're not gonna show interest because, oh, it's Satan, satanic. And they've also made it so it's like, again, instead of it being something where it's just bad people doing bad things, they have this built-in excuse, oh, it's Satan. They're not bad people. It's Satan worshipers. And as soon as you believe it's Satan, you're accepting defeat, right? It's a subtle submission. Because we all know Satan, according to the book, has all of the good powers. It's like, if you ever play those Star Trek game or Star Wars games where you get to be the good side or the bad side. The bad side always has the best powers. You get the lightning, you get more powers when you're the bad side. But this thing is, you know, instead of acknowledging that it's bad, instead of, so as soon as you acknowledge that the controller is the super-powered, overpowered super villain known as the devil, well, I mean, what has every comic book movie ever taught us? You know, that the people can't really do anything until the end of the movie when the superhero needs some help, and the people are like, hey, we're from New York, and they start throwing rocks at the bad guys, you know, cause the destruction. That stupid part. But we all know that, you know, the supervillain has to be defeated by the superhero. So that absolves us of responsibility. You know, the world's a really fucked up place, and you know, we all hate it, but hey, we can't do anything about it because we're not superheroes. We're waiting for the superhero to come back. The only guy that has the powers, the superpowers, to be able to take on the devil's superpowers, well, we're just waiting for him. Every generation of Christian has been convinced that in their lifetime, Jesus will come back. Every single one of you. You know, imagine if it wasn't that. Imagine if they're like, yeah, believe this shit, but there's no chance you're going to actually see the good part. No chance whatsoever. You know, you just got to believe what we're telling you. And in a few generations, those people get to go to heaven and shit. Those people get to see the good part. Nobody'd believe it. So the brilliance in the story is telling everybody, oh man, it's just, the carrot is right at the end of the string. You just got to reach for it. You just got to reach that string, reach that carrot. It's just out there. Jesus will be here any minute now. Just keep following the rules. Keep doing as God's chosen people, a completely different religion. You keep doing as they tell you, and God will come down and he'll beat that supervillain for us. He's just waiting. He's got a tip jar. It's like a tip jar, except it's a prayer jar. And it's almost full. There's a piece of tape at the top that shows the line, and it says, you know, once we get this many tips, oh boy, we're resurrection time, rapture time. And then the fucked up part is what they want you, what they have you believing, what they have you wanting, right? Because what you want is for Jesus to come down from the heavens, and as soon as his big fucking toe touches the ground, his toenail touches the ground, all of the good Christians immediately get raptured and start floating up to heaven. Which leaves all of the people who never, all of the innocent, you know, tribal people all over the world that have never even heard of Christianity. Well, sucks to be them, I guess. All the Muslims, sorry about that. You know, even all the Jews. You know? Everybody but you and your group, we're all left here to fight in what is known as Armageddon. And there's going to be trials and tribulations by God for all of the people that didn't get raptured. You know, Christians make up between 1 and 1.5 billion of the roughly 8 billion people on this planet. So that means you want between 6.5 and 7 billion people to die so you can go to heaven early. So you can skip being a good person in your life and following the rules so that when you die, you go to heaven. So you can skip all that shit and just go now. You want 7 billion people to die. 6.5 to 7 billion people to die. It's your average Christian. Your average Christian wants that to happen. Everybody that talks about Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming, they're saying they want 6.5 to 7 billion people to die in the horrible fucking Armageddon rapture revelations. You realize how fucked up that is? You know, there's 5 people supposedly watching at this moment. I'm sure several of you identify as Christian. At least 3 of you would identify as Christian. You're comfortable with that? You're comfortable knowing that there are children all over the fucking planet who have never heard of Christianity, never even had the chance to accept Jesus into their heart. And what's going to happen is they're going to burn for all of eternity in hell after they die a horrendous death here on earth. They're going to then burn in hell for all of eternity because St. Peter's going to be like, hey, do you accept Jesus into your heart? And they're going to be like, who? And then be like, flush that toilet each time. Just say yes, just say yes. That's cool for you, right? Come on, you're 5 of you here. Nobody's got anything to say? I'm wrong about all this, huh? Nobody has anything to say. I find that fascinating. I don't know how anybody could just sit here and listen to me talk about their thing as good as I do it, you know? As well as I talk about this shit in a negative way, as articulate and intelligent as I am, it has to be frustrating. So to sit here and listen to me shit all over your thing, yet you still believe in your thing it's fascinating to me. I don't understand that. I could never see somebody else doing their thing without saying anything. I could never listen to somebody else's opinions and just keep my mouth shut. I don't know. Is it because you think I'm smarter than you? Is that what it is? You're worried that you're gonna look stupid? What if you have something to say that I haven't thought about? And I go, oh shit, I didn't think about it that way. And it changes my whole perspective. And as far as you're concerned, especially if you're a Christian, you save my soul. Do you know how many extra heaven points you get if you save someone's soul like mine? That's big time points, man. That is big time points. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Don't you guys know a religious page or somebody that's really religious? Everybody knows somebody that's really religious. Tag them, bring them to the feed. Have them help me. By the way, if you're watching, 6 of you here, like my fucking video. What are you doing? If you're gonna sit here and watch me, at least like my shit. Help me out. You're not gonna share it? Like it. I don't get it. Are there really 6 Israelis watching me right now? Is it really just 6 Israelis? Israeli pedos. That's 7 now. That's who I firmly believe I've pissed off. The Israelis. And when you look at all of the information available, it's very feasible. And they're the ones that have the power to be able to do what's done to me. So they're the only ones too that I could possibly see that what I don't care what you believe in. Who is going to be mad? What American is going to be mad at me for saying Americans our tax dollars shouldn't go towards giving Israel money to murder people and should instead go to forming pedophile task forces that hunt down and execute pedophiles. But we should use that $3.8 billion a year for that, or for veterans associations, or for homeless situations, or women's shelters, or whatever we can come up with. $3.8 billion a year is a lot of fucking money that I don't think we should be giving to the Israelis. What American is going to oppose to that? Who is watching me right now that's opposed to that? I don't know if the audience is different because it's YouTube. I don't know if these are new people. I don't know. I always figured, you on YouTube you'd talk more. But is there anybody watching me that thinks we should give money to Israel? Why? Do you know about Israel? Do you know about any of that shit? Are you familiar with the Abraham Accords, the Oslo Accords? Are you familiar with, how this Israel situation works? Or are you probably just the average person who doesn't think Israel has anything to do with the United States because it's so far away? Like, don't you want your kids to have a better future? Grandkids? It's funny because people always say, oh, you just hate them. You just hate the Jays. You just hate the Jews. No, well, I don't just. Don't you want to know why? Isn't why? It's crazy how they've pretty much convinced the world that anybody that speaks out against them just hates them. There's no reason for it. It's not anything they do to warrant that hatred, justify that hatred. We're just all a big bunch of assholes. That or, You know, if you're my age, you grew up thinking skinheads were going to be a much bigger problem than they turned out to be. I thought I was going to be, skinheads would be doing all kinds of crazy shit. There'd be all sorts of situations involving skinheads that were scary and racist, and the Jews were always in danger from the skinheads, and the blacks were always in danger, and be scared of skinheads. I don't even know any. As an adult, I've never had a skinhead situation. Never run into one. Maybe I have, but it was never bad enough for me to remember it. But that's not how I thought it was going to be, especially according to like movies that were, when I grew up, it was when HBO first started having like 11-4 HBOs, HBO 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And the summer, I watched a lot of TV, the summer between 8th grade and 9th grade and shit like that. And, those formative years for me, HBO was constantly running School Ties. School Ties was on all the time. School Ties is the Brendan Fraser movie where he is the Jewish star athlete. Oh my gosh, that's just funny. Anyway, he's the quarterback. Star quarterback. Anyway, he's the star quarterback. And I don't know, does he go to Notre Dame? Can't remember, but he goes to some prestigious football college, because back in the early 1900s, college football was the most important thing. Not, everybody gave a shit about college football. Pro football was a joke. College football was the thing. It's kind of strange to think about, but Brendan is the star athlete on the star team, and Matt Damon is the stereotypical, good-looking white Catholic kid who makes Jew jokes all the time. And Brendan Fraser's got to hide the Jewish thing, but then at the end, he's the toughest guy, and standing out in the rain, he's, "You cowards!" Because nobody will come out and fight him, because he's the best star athlete Jewish guy. It's so funny. Sorry. And you had movies like Higher Learning, where you had the Jewish people, guys like Michael Rappaport and Benny from Dazed and Confused. They're the skinheads, and they end up shooting. And Michael Rappaport is the crybaby shooter, Remy, who he's just a big pussy, but he's a skinhead, and he does the shooting, and the skinheads are happy. And they beat people up and stuff. I thought going to college, man, skinheads are going to be all over the college campus. Nope. Schindler's List. In my school, we got extra credit if we came in. I think there was 3 Saturdays in a row or 2 Saturdays or something like that. where if you came in, no, at the time we had, we, my school thought it would be really smart to have half days every Wednesday, but they were PM half days. So we would come in at like 10:30, 11 or something like that. And everybody was fucking baked. Drunk, baked. Like, it was such a bad idea. All these rich kids. But for a couple of the weeks, they gave us extra credit if we came in early and watched Schindler's List. Schindler's List is a dumb movie. It's so stupid. I never got it. Like, oh, the little girl in the red dress. What's so fucking special about the little girl in the red dress? She's just this beautiful Jewish girl. This little Jewish girl in the red dress. And she's changing and she affects them again. It's just this little Jewish girl in the red dress. So stupid. So fucking stupid. That movie was dumb. How come there's never been a big blockbuster, this is what Hitler was and did movie? How come there's never been that movie? Just like there's never been, we went to the moon movie. How come they don't do that? I mean, I have an idea. Because they know it'll backfire on them. How are they gonna make a movie about going to the moon and make it look as shitty as the footage did in 1969? Yet still make it look good, I mean, it's one of those impossible sort of tasks. Especially since, again, they fucked up. Must be a planet. So I've been getting death threats, guys. I got a bunch of death threats today against me and my family. Literally death threats, texting me. People who watch my videos but won't say anything on the video for some reason. But they hate me and they watch my videos, and they were threatening death threats for like the first real time. I mean, I've done it a couple of times before, but nothing real. But today they were I was getting death threats for talking about Brian Mullen. Does anybody watching me know who Brian Mullen is? If you do, well, that answers another question, obviously. But the last few days have been pretty crazy in my world. And it's just, again, it's fascinating that me talking about stuff would affect other people so much. Why would anybody be so affected by what I'm saying, especially if I'm wrong? There's a great video out there, though. I suggest you watch it. It's called Smashing, I believe. Destroying Flat Earthers, Neil deGrasse Tyson style, I believe. Yeah, it's Destroying Flat Earthers. Or Destroying Flat Earth, Neil deGrasse Tyson style. And that dude has to be one of the most arrogant pricks they've ever they've ever given us, especially in a position of authority. This dude literally contradicts himself. Like, he says one thing, he says, I like blue, I like blue, I like blue. And then he says, I like red in the next sentence, over and over again. And at one point he says, I'm all about freedom of speech. I think freedom of speech is one of the most important things we have, and yada, 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 yada. Until you start influencing people. And once you start influencing people to think outside the way that we want them to think, it's like, what? You think freedom of speech is a good thing until you influence somebody? And the thing that's like, it's never put forth in the right way. It's like, look, the accepted reality is that we live on this crazy butterfly. Anybody puts forth that changes people's perception or makes them think or whatever like that, it's like exponential. There shouldn't be any argument. And yet the fact that there are arguments and the fact that look, from my perspective, the last thing I want is for people too scared to talk. The last thing I want as well is a bunch of people coming out here and patting me on the back and telling me how great I am and that they agree with me and all that shit. The only thing I want is for people to tell me what they disagree with me on. Anything I'm saying that you disagree with, that's the stuff we should be talking about. I'm a big boy. I can take it if you disagree with me, and it's how I get better as a person is by the things I'm wrong about are the things I address. The things I attack head on are the things I'm wrong about. I don't, how do I get better if every time I'm told I'm wrong about something, I'll go, no, I'm not. I don't want to hear what your arguments are. And, I'm Christy Moreno, and I want you believe me, right? You think I can do this, right? Like, I got to get you agreeing with me before I even talk to you. No. I want you to disagree with me and talk about anything that you disagree with. It makes me think outside the box. It makes me learn new things about myself. And that's just it. It's like, I'm extremely confident that even though I'm thinking outside the box and I am saying a bunch of taboo shit and a lot of times shit we're not supposed to say, that I'm confident that I'm right, that I'm speaking the truth, and that anybody that attempts to debunk or anything like that, they'll fail. So I'm absolutely confident, and I want you to try to debunk and whatnot, because I want to watch you fail. And it's funny to me that the church is never like, religious people are never like that. Religious people want you to not talk about their thing. Why do you believe in something you don't want to talk about unless you're talking about it with other people who just blindly believe what you believe? Always seems like religious people, I truly believe religious people don't believe what they say, so. You always see that, man. You always see it when you're talking to people. And they just, we think differently about religion. We shouldn't talk about it. Why? Do you have a problem talking about it? Because I don't. Definitely don't have a problem talking about what I believe in. And one of the biggest things is that I'm really proud of everything I believe in. Nothing I believe in is embarrassing or something I have to overlook so that I can continue to believe the good parts. Everything I believe in, I'm proud to say I believe in. I'm proud of my anti-chosen perspectives. I'm proud of all of my views and all of my thoughts, everything like that. I'm proud and I believe in what I'm saying. And I could honestly say I've given everything I'm saying thought. I'm not just regurgitating my grandfather's bullshit. I'm not, just talking out of my ass here. I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud to say that I was shown the same bullshit you were shown. And unlike you, I thought to question it. Unlike you, the parts that didn't make sense to me, I stuck with it. And I kept asking those questions. And I'm still asking those questions, under the idea that if you could answer those questions in a satisfactory manner, then I'll agree with you. Your shit wins. The thing about the earth shape argument is every single person that will tell you they don't think it's round did think it was round. We were all raised in the same brainwashed bullshit society you were raised in. And we all believed it's round until we tried to prove it. That's usually how it works. That's how it was for me. Most of the time, I'm confident. But with that in particular, I was being very arrogant. In my arrogance, I thought, I'm smart enough to debunk this flat earth bullshit. Yeah, I know I've never looked into it, but I still think that because I'm associating everything with the religious side of things, and I can debunk anything religious, it's all stupid. So I thought, I can debunk this flat earth shit. And within about 10 minutes, I knew I was fucked. But it was exciting to me, and I wanted more. Like, being wrong about something, especially something so fundamental and that affects so much of our lives. It was exciting for me. Transformative, that kind of shit. And I was hooked, and I wanted to know as much as I could, as fast as I could. And that for me, that's how it is when I'm wrong. I like that. And so I do these feeds in the hopes that, I can experience that you'll crush my arguments and have me thinking something I never thought I'd think was true. I never thought I would give in to the earth shape, to the flat earth. And the thing is, I didn't want to. Because for me, it was, like I said, so associated with religion that I just figured, I'm going to I'm going to look at this shit, and if it's real, if it really is flat earth, well, every Christian on the planet should be rushing towards this thing. And instead, it's your average Christian that argues with you that it's round. Because most Christians don't know their fucking Bible. They might have been forced to read it when they were younger. Might have. And they barely remember it. But they talk to you like they study it every day. One of the funniest experiences, one of the most eye-opening experiences for me in that kind of regard was right when the COVID bans got lifted, the mask bans got lifted, or the mask requirements got lifted. And I went to a doctor's appointment, and they were trying to tell me I had to have a mask on. And I was like, no. It's fucking crazy. What are you talking about? Shit's gotten lifted. And they were real shitty with me. And it ended up being this, you know, it was funny because I this one woman who worked behind, like, it started with one, like, with the security guard, and then it went to this other guy, and this you know, this young black guy who worked there got all angry and was all huffy puffy, and you know, and had to be sort of pulled back, and you know, and I'm standing there, and I even whip out my phone, and I'm like, look, there's a doctor right there walking around behind the counter. He doesn't have a mask on. There's another girl back there. She doesn't have a mask on. Like, not everybody has masks on, but I guess I'm supposed to. So, you know, a few of the people also in the waiting room start running their fucking mouths. So there's this old guy who is, you know, he's old, he's got his oxygen, and he's got to be 350, 400 pounds. And he's there with his daughter, who is one of those women who is just as round as she is tall. So she was like 5'2", but she was also like 350, 400 easily. And I say that for a reason. It comes into play later. But this person is the woman is like, sir, will you please put your mask on? My father is you know, and her father is this old, like, he's got like sweatpants on and stains all over his shirt and shit. And it's like, again, he's like 350 pounds. And I'm going, you know, the last thing you got to worry about is this make-believe cold. But you know, I'm sitting in the designated seats, and the designated seats are supposedly 6 feet apart. And she's like, sir, can you get away from my father, please? And I'm like, look, I'm in the 6 feet. I'm sitting in where they, sir, can you please? And her dad's talking to me. And she's like, and he's talking about, well, you know, this is important. I go, and I'm talking, and I said, you know, you're old enough to remember 1976 swine flu. You remember that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's when they lied. They flat out lied and claimed that there was a deadly virus. They had us clowns running around. They would tell people, if you handled pigs, you need to be tested right away. And they would go to farms and test pigs to see if any of them had swine flu. And it was just this huge ruse that never existed. 46 million Americans were vaccinated. I don't know how many worldwide, for something that never existed. They were inoculated. Back then it was inoculation. And I said, they lied. And shortly after that is when SID suddenly appears on a tremendous, like, SIDS didn't suddenly appear, but it suddenly appears on a monumental scale. All of a sudden, you know, something that was very uncommon is happening left and right until they get the formula right. And then autism appears. But I said, you know, they lied. They completely lied about the swine flu existing and vaccinated 46 million people against something that didn't exist. And the asshole says, well, you know, I don't know about that. And I said, well, I do. That's the thing. You're talking about something you barely remember. I'm talking about something that I looked into on my way here. I watched the 60 Minutes interview with Maury, what's his name? Or the 2020, I don't remember, 60 Minutes, 2020, whatever. With Maury, what's his name, interviewing the head of the vaccination propaganda program at the time, Dr. David Censor. His fucking last name is Censor. And he flat out asked him, were there any confirmed cases of swine flu anywhere? And he said, well, there were some rumored cases in Australia somewhere. And he was like, yeah, but were any of them confirmed? And he said, no. And he said, so there were no cases? And he said, no. He fucking lied, flat out lied, to vaccinate you. And it led to what we now call autism, which I call SOBA, symptoms of a biological attack. Because people are born autism or autistic. And the government doesn't even lie to you. The government flat out tells you. No, it's not, it doesn't cause autism. What we do have is something called a vaccine damage fund that you know, if your child was damaged from the vaccines and you don't call it autism, then you can get some of this money. As soon as you call it autism, it kind of disqualifies you. It makes it a lot harder for you. Because then they could say, oh, if it's autism, then your kid was born with it. Because you're born with autism. See how they do that? So you got to say it was vaccine damage. And if you do, there's a money set aside for that. Because they know vaccines are really fucking bad. The 1976 swine flu vaccine, where they vaccinated 46 million people for something that didn't exist, within the next few years, there were 4,000 plus lawsuits filed before the government passed, you know, did one of those lightning legislation passes where it's proposed and, you know, like Stormy Daniels, right? Stormy Daniels' gag order case, it just can't see the light of day. It just keeps getting pushed around, keeps getting pushed around, keeps getting pushed around. Stormy Daniels' defamation suit against Trump was heard and dismissed within, you know, hours of being, you know, when they want to, the government works really fast. And so with this, they passed the legislation that still affects us to this day, that says you can no longer sue the government for vaccine damage, nor can you sue vaccine companies. Both of those stipulations were put into that legislation. And I think what it was the 76 swine flu generation that got that vaccine, their children and their children's children, once vaccinated with the full 3-dose vaccine, the 76 swine flu vaccine that was passed down from generation to generation interacted with the vaccine, the birth vaccines, and if they gave them the right one, then it fucks you up. It turns into the SOBA kid. And the interesting thing about SOBA, symptoms of a biological attack, is how engineered it is. You know, those people, they're so helpless that the parent becomes sort of a prisoner. And if you had any sort of ambition or anything like that, you can't be, you're just so overwhelmed by this insane situation, that with this heartbreaking situation that you have with your child, and you're guilt-ridden because you knew you shouldn't have vaccinated, but you said, nah, this won't happen to me. And your bright, beautiful child that was bubbly and starting to speak and showing all this early promise got their shots, screamed like the bejesus, came home, had a fever, passed out, woke up the next day, hours and hours later, and you could see that there was like a wall was there. And that kid that was your bubbly, amazing little bundle of joy has been somehow dulled, and you can see it. You can look into their eyes and you can see that it's different. You know, that's that knowing that you did that is devastating. It's enough to make you, you know, do some terrible things, think some terrible things, and definitely not have the ambition that you're gonna go conquer the world like you may have had. And so these kids are engineered that they die right around the same time that the parent's gonna die, so that they can't become a problem of the state. They don't want a bunch of SOBA, autistic babies, vaccine damaged kids, adults that they have to take care of. It's engineered so those kids, those people die around the same time their parents do. It's fucking disgusting. But I'm wrong. And again, like I say, the irritating part for me is when I'm talking to that guy about it, and it's, well, I don't know about that. You don't know. The other day I'm talking to this woman has the audacity to attack me with her judgmental bullshit. So wait. You don't believe in God and you don't believe the earth is round? And I'm like, you know, it just shows me right there, you're dumb as fuck. You apparently you don't. And I said, so let me ask you this. Now that you've said that, what's the first thing God does in the Bible? After it turns on the light, because there's it's not the sun, it turns on a light. Let there be light, clap on, clap off. It turns on the light. What's the first thing God does? And the dumbass says to me, well, I'm not very good at the scripture part of it. And I say, you know, well, then why would you believe in something? Why would you identify as something and you don't even know what it says? You don't even know what you believe. That's crazy. And she goes, no, I know it. I'm just, you know, you put me on the spot. Oh, I put you on the spot by asking you what's the very first thing your God does in the book that you say you believe in? That's me putting you on the spot? And I said, all right, well, the first thing God does is after it's floating along the waters of the deep, and after it turns on the light, it builds the firmament to separate the waters of heaven from the earth below. It builds the dome that the stars live in. And oh well, I don't know about. I never heard that word firmament. So isn't that interesting? It appears 17 times in your Bible. It's the first thing your God does, and you're saying you never heard of it. I read the Bible. I just don't remember. I don't remember hearing that part, because that's one of those parts that doesn't get focused on. Just like you never hear the pastor, the preacher, the whatever talk about Matthew 24:34, which says, verily I say unto you, none of these things shall happen. None of these things shall, or no one of this generation shall pass until all these things come, or all of these things happen. Basically, what it is, it's the disciples asking Jesus, who's telling him about, just got done telling them about revelations. They're saying, damn, Jesus, when is all this shit gonna happen? And Jesus says, don't worry, none of you are gonna die until all of this shit happens. So everybody in Jesus' little posse has long been dead. So obviously all the things that all the revelations and shit that he was talking about, they happened before all those people died. But you're never going to hear your pastor, preacher, whatever talk about that, because that kind of kills your whole story, doesn't it? You know? If everything that's supposedly supposed to happen already happened, well then what the hell are you waiting on? Verily I say unto you, God, the Bible is so interesting. You know, I always ask people to give me passages. Is there a chapter? Is there a verse in the Bible? Is there something in the Bible? Like, you would think the Bible is something that you read it and you have this, like, experience. You're like, oh my God, this prophetic, visceral experience. I read this, you always hear about people sort of claiming that's what happens. They read the Bible and they felt the word of God, and blah, blah, all this other bullshit. And for me, every time I read the Bible, every time I have a religious conversation with somebody, it pushes me further away from the Bible. Or it pushes me further away from religion. But the Bible in particular, I've really tried. I've given it so many opportunities that I want to have that experience that everybody talks about. So tell me a verse, a chapter, anything to read that's going to give me that experience. And I've read lots of different chapters. I still need to read it front to back. I want to do it. It's such an awful book. It's written really poorly. And like, if I'm going to read it, I want to read the King James version. I don't want to read the new version with all the new edits and shit. But it's just such a tedious piece of shit read. It really is a bad story. It's amazing to me that anybody still falls for that bullshit. It's so dumb. And Jesus is such a bad character. He's such a whiny, needy, attention whore. And he's so arrogant and so, it's just so bad. It's so bad and dumb. And you get, it's especially the parts where Jesus actually talks. It's so bad. It's so dumb. There's one of my favorite stories. Like, you always hear that shit like Jesus, he made the blind see and perform these miracles. And when you talk about the miracles, one of the miracles is making the blind see. And I guess thinking about it in hindsight, to me that statement sounds like there's a group of blind people and more than one blind person that Jesus somehow makes them see. And it's funny, every time, like, you don't even, like, if your eyes weren't used and then all of a sudden you were able to use your eyes, they'd be atrophied, and you'd be overwhelmed by what you see. You wouldn't just be like, oh, I can see now. It wouldn't be like that. Those videos, that nothing makes me cry as easily as those videos of, like, when you see somebody hear something for the first time, a deaf person, and they put a cochlear hearing aid in, and the people can hear something they can hear their parents' voice for the first time, especially when it's like a little kid, and all of a sudden Like because they don't really know what's going on. So all of a sudden they just sort of stop and they look like, I can hear what the hell is going on. And it's overwhelming. Like I'm almost choking up now talking about it because those are amazing videos to watch. That's some of the best of humanity that you can see. Like that's what our technology and our innovation and all that, our ability to overcome hearing loss and give these people this amazing experience and gift. Like that shit is just so fantastic. And then you read the story about how Jesus made the blind see. And the story goes that he's being pursued by a bunch of Jews who are calling him out like, dude, you are not the son of God. Abraham is the true king, and we are all the children of Abraham, and that's the only good thing, and yada yada yada. And they're going from like they're walking around all these different temples and shit. And Jesus is like, no, you need to believe in me because I say so. And if you don't believe in me, it's going to make me really upset. My dad wants you to believe in me. Seriously. And they're like, no, man, we just don't believe you're this miracle guy, blah, blah, blah. So Jesus says, all right, fuck you. You know what? Old blind Billy over there. You guys know old blind Billy, right? And everybody's like, yeah, we spit on him and shit. We treat him like shit. That's old blind Billy. He's always sitting out there begging for change and getting drunk and shit. He's a piece of shit. His parents suck too. Jesus was like, all right. And he walks over to him and he spits into the desert sand enough spit to make a paste. They can't just be a little loogie. We're talking about desert sand. So to turn desert sand into a paste, Jesus must have been like, just loogie, loogie, loogie. He makes this paste, and it had to be a lot because he rubs it in the guy's eyes, covers the guy's eyes with this paste, and tells him, okay, old blind Billy, there's a river right there, but you got to walk to the river over there and go rinse out. Go rinse your eyes in that particular river way over there. And you'll be good. And blind Billy's like, what the fuck, man? You just rubbed all this shit in my fucking eye. What the fuck? So old blind Billy walks over to the river, rinses his eyes, and now he can see. And again, he's not like over, oh my God, what the fuck, oh my. He's not like that. He can just see now. Well, all of the people around go, damn, Jesus, we treated old blind Billy like shit. Like, seriously, people used to spit on him. You know how the Jews like to spit on people. People spit on him all the time. People treated him really badly his whole life. What did he do? He's been blind his whole life. What did he do to deserve such a horrible fate? Was he bad in a previous life? Jeez, no. That's witchcraft bullshit. What are you talking about, previous life? They're like, okay, so were his parents bad or something? Did his parents do something? Did they steal something? What is it? And Jesus goes, verily I say unto you, because he likes saying that shit. Verily. The reason old blind Billy is blind is because my dad, in all of his infinite wisdom, knew that one day I would need to perform a miracle. So he had old blind Billy be blind and live that fucked up life, and his parents lived the fucked up life they had to live, having the blind kid, how difficult that shit was, especially back then. And that shit was difficult back then. Weren't no braille shit anywhere. Walking canes and shit. No, it wasn't like that. There wasn't government subsidies. They treated blind Billy like shit. That life that he lived was so that he could be right there, right when I needed him to be. So I could convince you non-believers that I can do some cool shit. That is the Bible. That's what it says. I mean, it's not verbatim. I do a better job because verbatim it's dumb as fuck. Heeth saith and the peeth on the poopeth and the shut the fucketh upeth. But the reason why this man had to live a life of shit and his parents had to live a life of shit is so that one day when Jesus needed him to be there, he was there. That's the story. That's not a good story. That's a bad story. That's not a religion I want to be a part of. Thank you very much. But nothing. And I mean nothing. You know, I can't say that. I got to read the Bible front to back because I'm sure it has a bunch of stories that are horrendous. But so far, the most horrendous story is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. So you ask your average Christian, what is it? Why don't you believe? Why do you hate gay people? The Bible says so. Where? The Bible says no man should lay together. Where? It's Sodom and Gomorrah talks all about it. God punished the world because they was gay. Like, okay, so you don't know that story, do you? I'm not good at the scripture part. So, good thing I am. So, one day, and it's right after is it right after the story I just told? I don't quite remember, but one day a fella named Lot is sitting like apparently old towns used to be surrounded by like big fences and shit, walls, I don't know. But there used to be a bunch of, you know, Lot is out there sitting on the edge of the on the gate that goes into the town. And he's, I don't know, whittling a stick or some shit. And all of a sudden, two angels. Oh yeah, this is right after the story of Noah, I think. Yeah. Talk about another dumbass story. Two angels are walking to another place, and on their way there, they pass Lot, who is sitting outside of the town on a stoop or whatever, I don't know. He's just hanging out outside, just in stick or some shit. These angels come walking up, and Lot's like, oh, hey, aren't you guys the angels? And they're like, shh, don't say anything. And Lot's like, oh, that's awesome. Why don't you guys, it's getting late. Looks like you're walking through. Why don't you guys come stay at my house for the night, and I'll give you some unleavened bread. And, you know, feast, and you guys can hang out. It's going to be late. And they're like, nah, we're good. And Lot's like, come on. I'll make you unleavened bread. It'll be good. Come on. And they're like, okay, we'll stay. And as they enter the town, the men of the town are struck by an uncontrollable overwhelming, almost God-given urge to be homosexual. But not just homosexual, because there's all a bunch of men. They could all be fucking each other. They're not. They all get the urge to go fuck these two angels that they somehow know are at Lot's house. So the mob of gay men now, people were like hammering on an anvil and shit, shoeing horses. I don't know what old-timey shit is. Sawing logs and plowing fields with sheep. I don't know. Shearing sheep and plow. They just dropped whatever they were doing. And they all just were like, holy shit. And they congregated outside of Lot's house. And they were like, damn, there's these two motherfuckers at Lot's house right now. And I ain't never been gay before, but fuck, I am gay as fuck right now. And I want to fuck those two angels. Or those two guys. They don't know they're angels. And the other guys are like, yeah, me too. This is really weird, isn't it? And they're like, nah, it's totally natural. It's all good. Just this super gay stuff just struck us out of the blue. Nothing to see here. So they come up to Lot's house. And they see the mob outside. And Lot goes out through the door. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, shut up, Lot. We know you got two guys in there. We want to fuck them. And Lot's like, no, you don't. And they're like, yeah, dude, get out of the fucking way. We want to fuck these guys that you got in there. And he's like, but Zebediah, Hebediah, you guys have families and shit. What do you mean? Well, I guess if his name's Lot, their names are like Spork and Punch and, Tree and who, I don't know. But they're like, no, we want to fuck these guys. We know you got them in there. And Lot goes, listen. We can't just be having, oh, I lost one of my likes. We can't just be having this rape mob come rape these two strange gentlemen that just showed up walking through, these strangers that probably never see. We can't have that. Come on, guys, that's not the right thing to do. Here, how about this? I have two daughters, 14 and 15. Never been touched by a man before. They're betrothed, each of them is betrothed to one of you in this mob somewhere, because all the men in the town are gay. One of you, they're but how about this? How about I give you my two virgin daughters and you just rape mob them all you want to. That'll be like, right? You could just, they're young, they look like boys anyway, they're young. So, how's that? How about I give you, well, they're not. They're 14 and 15. They're probably pretty prepubescent at this point. And the rape mob's like, Lot, that's a very generous offer. And normally we'd take you up on that because we're all generally heterosexual men. And, heterosexual men just love a good gang rape, I guess. I don't know. Fucking gross. But they're like, no, we're like gay right now. So we just want to fuck those guys you have in there. And if you don't get out of the way, we're going to fuck you up. We're not going to fuck you, but we're going to fuck you up. So you better get out of the way because we're coming through to rape those guys. And Lot's like, no, you can't do that. But as he's saying that, somehow the angels open the door, pull Lot through the door, and then everybody that's gay is now blind. And because they're blind, they can't find the door that they were just reaching for and just, oh my God, I'm blind now. Oh, I can't, it's another. gay and bumping into each other and blind, and they don't know what's going on. And then the Decepticon logo comes towards the screen and flips around. And when it comes and it flips around to an Autobot logo, and when they come back, it's later on. And Lot's like, wow, what the fuck? That was crazy. And all the guys have gone back. The mob has dispersed, and I guess they're not blind or gay anymore. I don't know. But Lot was like, that shit was crazy, yo. What the fuck? And they're like, yeah, well, we're angels. And, you know, based on your generosity of offering your virgin daughters up to the rape mob, we really appreciate that. God, because you were so generous in offering your daughters up to the rape mob, he said, I got a cell phone. He said that you, your daughters, your wife, and your daughter's betrothed to be husbands can leave. Because God is planning on raining down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, because all those people got the gay from him and came to rape us. So God's going to punish them. And Lot's like, that makes total sense. Let me go talk to my daughter's betrothed to be boyfriends. So he goes and he finds those two guys, and he's like, hey, remember how like earlier you were like gay and blind suddenly? And you wanted to fuck those, well, you were gay suddenly and you wanted to fuck those guys in my house. And I tried to give up my daughter to you guys in the rape mob so you could rape my daughters instead of these two guys that showed up at my house there. Remember how that happened earlier? And then you got blind for a little bit. Remember that? Well, those were angels. It was all because there were angels at my house. And they said that God is he's mad about the whole gay thing that again, he gave you guys. He's mad about that. And he's going to rain fire and brimstone down upon our town. And those guys are like, what? Angels? Angels and God and fire? Come on, man. Yeah, so I was gay earlier. So what? So I was blind for a little bit. So what? Come on. That should happen. I think it was something that I ate, to be honest, and everybody else must have ate it too. But yeah, God is not fucking sending it. Come on, dude, shut up. And Lot's like, oh yeah? Well, fuck you then. I don't like you. I never liked you guys anyway. Fuck you guys. So Lot goes home, and he's like, all right, angels. My son-in-laws aren't coming. They were dicks. They made fun of me. So we're just gonna, it'll just be us. And the angels are like, all right, well, whatever you do, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. You got to go far. And Lot's like, look, I'm an old crippled man. You know, I know we're going to end up using Godspeed and all. But there's a town a few clicks away. Can we just, it's a small town. They didn't get the gay from God. Can we just go there instead of going further? And one angel's like, hang on a second. He whipped out his phone, he called God, and God was like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever, he gave up his virgin daughters for you guys. So he's like, yeah, okay. You can go to that town. God said he won't destroy that town too. So you guys go to the town. Whatever you do, don't look back. It'll be bad for you if you look back. And, see ya. So again, I don't know, like, the distances that are traveled here. Lot's this old crippled man. I don't know how he's traveling from one town to the next or however that works, but they get to the town. And again, it's not like, I don't know if there are other people at this town or not, but they get to the town and, well, no, they're on their way there, and the fire and brimstone starts raining down. And because, women are stupid, Lot's wife looks back to see what was going on, and she's turned into a pillar of salt. And she must have been ahead of Lot and the girls, so they could, because if they would have looked back to see that she had turned into a pillar of salt, they'd have been turned as well. So she must have been in front of them as this was happening. But him and his two 14, 15-year-old virgin daughters, they get to the town, and Lot, who must be in phenomenal shape, especially for an old guy, is like, you know what, my virgin daughters that I tried to give to the rape mob, I don't trust those angels. I think they were lying. So what we're going to do is, I know of this cave up at the top of this mountain over there that happens to be stocked up with supplies, happens to be livable, happens to have lots of alcohol, and we're just going to go live there instead, because I don't trust those angels. So again, they use their Godspeed, and it's just like Mario, like doink, 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 and they jump up to the top of the mountain in a cave. And while they're in the cave, we switch to the daughters. And the older 15-year-old daughter says to 14-year-old daughter, "Hey, sister, you know our father?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You know how he's like the best guy ever?" And the daughter's like, "Yeah, like especially the way he tried to give us to that mob, that rape mob, to protect those two strange men that showed up. Oh my God, that was so nice of him." They're like, "Yeah, we absolutely need to do something to carry on his seed. I know both of us are his kids and whoever we have kids with that carries on his seed, but he needs some sons to carry on his seed." What's up, man? He needs a son to carry on. He needs two sons to carry on his seed because he's such a good man. And they're like, okay, so what we're going to do, I'm oldest, so I get to go first, of course. What we're going to do is we're going to take some of this alcohol and we're going to get him so drunk that he doesn't know. Because as long as the man doesn't know what's going on, it's good. Like the women, they're just stupid women who get turned into pillars of salt anyway. So they can know and it's not a big deal. Well, not the women, the girls. But if they get the man, as long as they get the man so drunk that he doesn't actually know what's going on, the idea of him having sex with his own daughters is not a big deal. So they hatch the plan that they're going to get their dad so drunk that he will lay down with them. And so they do. And back then they had really good pregnancy tests in caves. Much better than what we have now. So the elder daughter says to the younger daughter, the 15-year-old says to the 14-year-old, "We were successful last night in part one of the plan. I am pregnant after having sex with father last night. And tonight you're going to do the same thing. We'll get him drunk again and you can do the same thing." So they proceed to get him so drunk that he doesn't know he's having sex with his own daughter, yet his elderly dick still works somehow. Amazingly. I mean, this is Godspeed, so I don't know. But the younger daughter has sex with the dad. The next day, she wakes up, she tells her older sister, I was also successful and I am pregnant. And they go on to both bear sons that aren't retarded for some reason. And one becomes the leader of the Moabites, and the other one becomes the leader of, I can't remember what the other one is. But yeah, it ends on that happy note where that they gave birth to sons who, who became leaders of great nations themselves. Because again, these women couldn't have just gone back to that town and found men that weren't their father to have children with and still carry on that great man's seed that wanted to give them to the rape mob. They had to do it with their father, and they did, and they were successful, and it worked out. It was a happy ending. They both got pregnant with sons, and they became leaders of great nations. Like, how amazing is that? That is such a story of hope and promise, and at the same time, I mean, seriously, how can you read that story and not think, man, God sure does hate gay people? That's the lesson to be learned from that story. It's not a story promoting incest and whatnot with your own daughters. Nah, that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that God can make you gay for an afternoon, and if he does, then he will rain down fire and brimstone on your whole town because he made you gay for an afternoon, and you were gay. Even though you didn't do any gay stuff, you were still gay. You tried to. You wanted to rape 2 angels suddenly. So, another moral is, if you're ever presented with that same situation and you happen to have 2 daughters, the best thing you can do is offer your daughters to a rape mob to avoid the rape mob having sex with strange men that just show up at your house. That's the Bible. I'm the crazy bad one for not believing in that. That makes sense, doesn't it? Like, when you hear that story, you go, those stories, you go, fuck, man. Anybody who doesn't believe that is fucked in the head. You got to be a real psychopath to not believe that stuff. That shit makes all the sense, right? I mean, how many of you wouldn't give up your own daughters for a stranger rape mom? This is what you want to believe, this, Christian people. And because of this belief structure that you want to believe in, that also tells you that the Jews are your God's chosen people, not you guys, not the Christians, a different religion altogether is your God's favorite chosen people. You don't see anything wrong with that. You don't see how that could possibly be used against you or used to justify, I don't know, something like Israel's existence. You don't see how that could be negatively used? Because the Bible is the truth. The Bible is the truth. You don't need any proof. The Bible is the truth. And if you don't believe it, then I'll ostracize you. Makes sense, right? Down to my last person. We had gotten up to, what, 7, 8? Now we're down to none. Oh, now we're back to 3. What? And at the same time, I've been telling these stories and not one person has anything to say. Gosh, is that interesting. Oh shit, I just turned it on and there is a lot of people. I just got here and this guy is speaking facts, said this chick an hour ago. Well, thank you. I'm really pissed I didn't see all this stuff. Hello from Melbourne. We had major harsh lockdowns here from March 2020. Vaccinations were a must to enter private and public buildings, not including essential stores. Masks were compulsory. Also, interesting topic. Thank you, Chavy. Can you say hi to my friend? No. No, I don't. I'm not saying those two words. Sorry. Wow, that's really weird. I didn't know I had to do that. I'm learning how the YouTube works. I'm learning. I wish I would have seen all these comments. Damn, I feel really bad. I feel like an asshole. All these people just being nice and talking to me, and I was just not talking back. I was being an asshole. Oh. I need to go to bed. I didn't realize it was this late. I need this shit to go up. Red Hots. Get your red hot here. Red Hots. That's so fucked up. And see, all those people that were talking, they felt slighted because I wasn't acknowledging what they were saying. But I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Man, it's going to be going for a long time. What a waste. What a waste of a day. Well, I feel my energy completely leaving. So, you know what the music means. Go get your free download. www.-bildberg-group.com and get your free download. See ya.